my business makes way more money being boring than it ever did when I was busy. Now let me talk about what this looks like and why this is important for you in your business. When I first started this thing, I was Hat Man Hank. I wore every single hat in the business, and I thought it was cool that I was always busy, that my phone was always ringing, that I was always driving all over Timbuktu, that I was missing dinner, that I was up early, that I was home late. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and it was a sure sign of success. And so many people think that same thing. The sign of success is you're always working. Well, it's 2025 and things have kind of changed a little bit, all right? I started my business back in 2016 when it was still cool to work. Now, it's not cool to work. Now it's cooler to have free time and post things on social media of you being on vacations and or overseas and whatever else, right? So what I've seen is the wealthiest people, their businesses tend to be really boring. They're not sexy, all right? Now, there's things like Apple, all right? That's a pretty sexy business, all right? And that makes a bunch of money. There are things like Tesla, all right? So there are massive businesses that are pretty sexy, but guess what? You get into it and they're pretty boring for the CEO, all right? They get to dream and whatever, but they definitely are not busy in this business. And there's a big difference. So our goal is to build systems that allow us to be bored in our job. And you might say, well, Colin, how the heck are you gonna be bored if you're an entrepreneur? Like, there's no way. My employees are always gonna be calling me, whatever else. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm sure that Elon had that early on in his life, right? But he had to learn the same thing, that boring is better than busy. So what does this look like? What is real life application for this, and how do we do it? So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work here, all right? So step one, all right? Step one to becoming boring over being busy is we need to time track. We need to see what is taking up most of our time, all right? If we don't know where all of our time is going, we don't know who we need to hire or what things we need to delegate, all right? So first, we need to time track, all right? Second, we need to delegate the time sucks, okay? So we're gonna delegate the time sucks. Things that are taking up the most of our time. If you are responding to emails all day and that's 4 hours of your day, delegate those emails off. Well, Colin, nobody knows how to respond to them. They will. Promise you, when I hired my executive assistant and said, here, take over my email, I only want crazy important ones. I started my own separate email that nobody else had except for her. And guess what? Within a month, I started getting like 1 email a day from her. That was it. She was able to respond to the other 100. Right? I didn't have to spend any more time in my mailbox. That's pretty darn amazing, all right? You can do the same thing, whether that be production or installs or sales or whatever that is inside your business. You can delegate it. All right, you just have to be willing to let other people be better than you at that. You gotta eat a little bit of humble pie and be okay with that. Because remember, our goal is we want that boring business, all right? So we're gonna delegate the time sucks, all right? That's gonna leave us with some high dollar per hour things, all right? So 3, we're gonna go back to 1, all right? We're gonna do the time track, but then we're also gonna put $1 per hour on tasks, okay? So now every task that's left is gonna have $1 per hour value, all right? Once we do this, it radically opens up what you are doing every single day that you should not be doing. All right, so right off the rip, we're gonna get rid of a lot of it because it'll just really piss you off if we do the $1 per hour on tasks right away. So you'll get rid of the things that you really hate. But then it's gonna be things like payroll. Why do you spend 3 hours doing payroll when you can pay somebody $25, $30 an hour to run your payroll for you? Holy cow, I guess I never thought of it that way. Right, if you went out and did some sales, you're gonna make a lot more per hour for you and your business than you would doing that thing. Why are you spending time cleaning the shop or ordering materials? That's a office person job, all right? That's not hard to order materials. That's not hard to set up the materials for the next day. You could hire a warehouse guy to do that for $20 an hour. oh crap, I guess I never thought of it that way, all right? But you're addicted to this freaking busy, and so you're not doing it, all right? So we have to do this, track this out dollar per hour on these tasks, and then again, hire or hand them off. So we're gonna hire or hand off, all right, or delegate, all right? So we're gonna hire somebody or hand that off to somebody that we already have hired in our company. A lot of people, we can do this handoff way easier than we can hiring, because we already have people in our company willing to do more, willing to take on more responsibility for the better good of the business. And some of you that are not employers, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, take advantage of people, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, people want to feel respected. They want to have responsibility. And that's how they get it, by taking on more responsibility. Sure, it can equal more money. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe the job they're doing, if they're in sales, they make good money doing the sales. And they're like, hey, you know what? I'll help oversee and put together the spreadsheet so we can track KPIs on all the other sales reps. I really like doing that. I want to be a sales manager someday. I'm willing to invest into my future so that I can then do what I want to do later on. It's so weird that people won't invest into their future in the workplace, but they will going to school. They're getting paid to work, and they won't do any more than what they're getting paid to do because, well, work my wage, or whatever that phrase is, all right? But they'll go and pay people money to teach them so that eventually they can do more. It's crazy to me. It's crazy, the whole college thing. There's very few jobs that you actually need a college degree for. So hand it off. And if you're an employee watching this, great, cool. Now you've got a magic trick. You can get paid to increase your skill set. That's it, all right? Get paid to increase your skill set so that you can then ask for more money later on. Or maybe you just go get another job and they'll pay you more because now you have this skill set, all right? Instead of having to pay some college professor or some course online or whatever, all right? Your employer will pay you to learn. That's pretty darn cool. And guess what? If you make a mistake, it ain't on you. Pretty darn cool how that works out, right? Sam's laughing here because we've learned a lot when it comes to video and YouTube and all that fun stuff, right? I just have to pay his salary, so it's not like it's costing me a ton of money, but it still costs, right? And he gets to learn on my dime, and he gets to learn how to do social media and all that fun stuff on my dime so that later on he can ask for more money, right? That's how that works. All right, so you hire or hand it off. All right, now 5, and this is probably the most important, you need KPIs. All right, and you might say, well, Colin, I don't even know what KPIs are. Key performance indicators. All right, so as you're handing all these things off, you need to be able to track what your employees are or are not doing. All right, so you got to have KPIs, and those KPIs, they revolve around, we'll just do this, SOPs, standard operating procedures, all right? Make sure the standard operating procedures are very clearly written so that people have a proven record or proven track to follow so they can crush these KPIs, and the rest takes care of itself. Now you're like, well, Colin, if I do all this, what's left for me? Guess what? You get to be one heck of a leader. All right, you get to be the best darn leader that you could ever be. You get to buy a pool table, buy some Cruising World race car games, build up the company culture. You get to plan events. You get to show up, love on people. You get to sit in your office, hear what's going on, help coach them through life. All that fun stuff that I get to do every single day. So I make way more money being boring than I ever did being busy. So hopefully this video has given you somewhat of a roadmap to get through this. If you're like, hey, Colin, I don't know how to do this thing, drop it in the comments. I'll respond, or Sam will for me. He'll screenshot it and send it to me, and I'll respond. All right. So if you're like, I don't know how to overcome this thing in my business, it's taking up all my time, it's making me super busy, and I don't know how to make it boring, maybe I'll just make a video and I'll address you by name. That'd be pretty darn cool too. So anyways, get after it, give bigly so that you can win bigly. We'll see y'all.